think before making a choice. Your soul is connected at the 6th chakra, and when the energy of Source can flow correctly, guidance from your soul level can step down into your awareness, and that is the level of myself that I have heard through my physical ears. But it is much more pleasant on my distorted body to have the energy step down to my awareness via telepathy, as the energy is not as powerful, such a strong burst on the physical body. And we should all do that. Receive information from our soul seat of consciousness via our 6th chakra. The seat of the soul-mind identity is located toward the center of the brain and is located at the 3rd eye, or the pineal gland. The pineal gland 3rd eye shrunk and became inactive, for the most part, within the human biology via the loss of energy when the 2/3 fall of energy occurred and the grid became distorted. At that time, the pineal gland could only function to regulate sleep patterns by producing melatonin. When the 2/3 fall of energy occurred and the eternal life grid fell into the distorted configuration, the 6th chakra of the pineal gland was taken out of alignment, creating the 666 seal. And yes, this is the mark of the beast, and we will look at that in quite a bit of detail later. This blocked access between the embodied consciousness and the soul seat of higher consciousness, as well as turned off the ability to nighttime dream or even daydream within the human population. As healing has occurred slowly, bit by bit, the energy of Source being brought back unto the planet eventually allowed for the ability of nighttime dreaming to turn back on within the people of Earth. And when it did turn back on, the people of Earth were terrified because they had no clue what was going on and could not separate the dreamtime experiences from the daytime waking experiences. They eventually decided that the nighttime experiences occurred in the underworld, as it was a world they could not find during waking daytime. The dreamtime experiences were mostly what we would consider to be nightmares because of the virus raging within, and so the people had no knowledge of their environment or memory of anything and were terrified of just about everything that moved. They were also ripe and ready for the magical godlets who came to Earth to teach them everything they should know and take control. The pineal gland of the 3rd eye is the location where inner vision occurs and where awareness of higher conscious thoughts translate to become aware within human perception. If the system will allow for it, the higher thoughts may become aware via out-of-body focus of sitting within one of the higher vertical seats. But then to think about it and integrate it, conceptualize it, it must step down via the 3rd eye into the physical brain, and is why the 3rd eye at the pineal gland and both hemispheres of the brain should work as one organ. It is the seat of creativity and spiritual experiences, as well as the point of inner visualization. It is also the connection of the 13th pillar, or the eternal eye of Source, that sits in direct alignment with the center point of the original thought of Source, when experiencing within holographic reality fields, and the eternal life grid is expanded to create the polarized frequency bands and chakras. We'll look at that in a while, so that I can explain the eternal eye of Source to you, as it is not the same thing as the all-seeing eye or the eye of Ra, which are actually the mark of the beast. Supplements can provide the hormone melatonin, which the pineal gland creates, but they cannot turn the natural higher abilities of the third eye back on. The only thing that can do that is the higher energy of Source. Activation of the third eye can sometimes occur during a head injury, in which the head receives an extremely hard blow. But it is not suggested to try doing such a thing, as it can kill the physical body. So do not try that at home. And that was a really, really big aha moment for my personal experience when that line of information opened up within me, that it can sometimes occur via a head injury. Because when I was 6 years old, I was playing with a friend that lived across the street from us, a little boy that was a couple years older than I was. And we were playing in a field out behind my house that had this humongous old tree in it. And he was building a tree house up in the tree. And I was afraid of heights, so I would not go up in the tree with him. And I was sitting under the tree playing, and he was up there hammering away on boards, building a tree house. And he accidentally knocked the hammer off, and the claw of the hammer hit me in the top of my head, right in front of the soft point, the fontanelle. And it didn't knock me out. And I never really thought about that until I became aware of this information here. I just really didn't plug this into my personal life experience. And of course, I went running to the house and screaming and blood pouring out of my head, and my mom about freaked out, and she took my baby sister and ran her to the neighbors and threw her in the door and said, I gotta run her to the hospital. And I ended up with 6 stitches in the top of my head. And that was, I think it was summer, and I think that it was the month of June, but I'm not exactly sure that I remember now, and Mom's no longer on planet, so I can't ask her. But I remember my birthday's in July, and I remember I got a Barbie doll house, so I think that it was in June. So I find that really interesting now to know this today within my personal self. A hammer in the top of my head, missing my 6th chakra, but coming close to it and requiring 6 stitches, and I was 6 years old. All of those 6s within there. It's kind of hard to ignore that when you encounter something like that. So anyway, that's just my personal share with you with that. But don't go try to hit yourself in the head with a hammer and make that happen, because chances are it won't happen and you'll just kill the body. So don't do that. However, focused practice via meditation, visualization within the pineal gland can stimulate the third eye to awaken and begin running higher energy. Those who think they are not able to visualize anything are simply dealing with a pineal gland that has not yet activated, combined with their belief that they cannot visualize. Because remember, whatever we believe, that's what we're going to experience, because we're telling ourselves what we're going to experience. And the issue of the autopilot thoughts of the reptilian brain, yeah, we're going to talk some more about the reptilian brain, which we'll see in a little while, adds to the issue of dealing with the third eye and it activating. This is why daily focus of running the higher energy of Source via the vertical pillar, running the spine or the center, down the center of your body, can assist to stimulate the third eye and awaken it. It is via the 6th chakra, third eye region, that the higher energy of Source continues to spread out through the physical body and plays a major role in raising the light particles that compose the physical body into higher energy units of light. Every individual is at the exact stage of energetic activation that they are supposed to be at. And so if you're waiting for the inner vision of the third eye to turn back on, it is simply a matter of allowing the energy of Source to accomplish that, and to try to find the joy in the fact of knowing that that's what you're waiting on. Kind of like waiting for Christmas, the excitement of Christmas, if that's what you're waiting on. The third eye, sixth chakra, is the entry and exit point of the soul consciousness within the human body. And the distortion of the eternal life grid has made it very challenging for the soul consciousness to get in and out of body because of the need to conform to the distorted life grid. It is not just the fear of physical death that keep people lingering within the body longer than is necessary when the body is shutting down, but also the challenge of getting the soul consciousness back out of the body. This is why newly incarnating souls may choose to leave the body before the sixth chakra becomes completely sealed, as in the case of crib death, because they know that once that occurs, they will not be able to change their mind about the life experience. And some are so overwhelmed by the distortions when they incarnate here that they simply cannot stand it. There are always loving expressions of Source around us when it is time to step out of the physical body to assist and guide us. Visualization exercises can assist our desires in directing the energies in our inner systems to activate the third eye. By focusing our thoughts into the area of the sixth chakra, we stimulate the third eye with the higher energy of our thoughts. And continued practice of this will eventually allow a mental thought to become aware as an image within the brain, which is called creative visualization. But some people have an issue with the word visualization, as there's an encryption within that word, an encryption that has been created through things like movies and psychics and crystal balls and all of that kind of stuff. And sometimes an encryption within a word can create a blockage of energy within us if we have a kind of a negative feeling towards that word. I mean, the word itself hasn't done anything wrong, but sometimes we can have we can feel a negative encryption within that word, and it's like a repulsion to us. And no, I'm not even going to look at that word. I don't even know what that word means. So I'm not going to look it up. I don't want anything to do with that word. Well, it's an encryption that's held within that word that has been created within the hologram in some manner. So when we encounter words like that, just change the word. Find another word that speaks of the same thing that the word's trying to tell you. So for instance, visualization. You can say pretend, you could say imagine, you could say make believe, you could say daydream, anything, any other word that would work for you in place of the word that you encounter, so that you don't have to deal with that negative feeling that you might have from that word that's blocking energy. The idea is to open flows of energy, so you don't want to deal with anything that's going to block flows of energy. All people experience this creative visualization, or whatever word you want to use there. All people experience this, as that is how the brain translates energy to our awareness, is via thought images. But obviously, not all people are yet aware they experience this. This is the same location where nighttime dreams play out. But most people forget the feeling of the location upon waking. If you desire to work with visualization exercises to assist your third eye to turn back on, start with images you know. An example might be your car or your mate, a friend or a relative, and try to imagine the face or the car as you know that it looks. It can be very challenging to explain the process of seeing images within your head to someone who thinks they cannot do so, because the illusion of matter tries to create a preconceived thought that you should be seeing inside of your head with your physical eyes, and that is not the case, at least not in my experience. If you have nighttime dreams, a good time to allow yourself to feel that experience is as soon as you're waking up from the dream and starting to get back in your body. If you can remember in that moment, try to stay with the dream a little bit longer before you open your physical eyes. Still focusing on the dream, try to feel that space within your head where you're experiencing that dream. You're seeing, when you have that dream, you're seeing and experiencing the dream, whatever images you have within that dream. And it's the same concept in the same space within your physical body, the same 6-point chakra where that's occurring. So if you can connect with that memory in the dream time experience, it might be an easier way if you're having challenges in thinking that you're not able to do something like creative visualization. Becoming aware of it like that as you're waking up from a dream might be easier for you. With practice, flashes of intuition come in with increasing consistency as the third eye is activated to greater degrees. The pineal gland will continue to rise from its state of ancient dormancy, bringing back unto awareness higher energy awareness. The sense of false ego vanishes at certain brainwave frequencies. In the brainwave state that's called theta state, we are resting deeply and still conscious at the threshold of drifting away or maybe back into physical body conscious awareness. As the brain enters deeper states, our consciousness is less concerned with the physical state. Our third eye is active and separation becomes natural. This is when an out-of-body experience can occur. You do not have to have a near-death experience to have an out-of-body experience. You go out of body every night when you go to sleep, even if you're not aware that you do that. You travel all over the place. During the theta state, the brain waves cycle 4 to 7 cycles per second. Daydreaming, night dreaming, creativity, meditation, paranormal phenomena, out-of-body experiences, and ESP occur when the brain is at the state. This is the state my brain enters when I am viewing, integrating higher information via my vertical pillar, and my physical eye vision adjusts to adapt to that state of energy, and is why my physical eye vision is blurred during this state of energy. This cycle of brain waves allows a bridge of energy to be made between the embodied consciousness and the higher vertical family of consciousness. Because your higher vertical family of consciousness, the base pulse rhythm, or the cycles of brain waves, is higher, faster than what we are here in this reality field, and a whole lot faster than the mutation of these physical bodies. And so the theta brainwave state within these physical bodies, when we reach that deep state, but we're not yet completely asleep, we're still conscious and aware. It's a matter of our brain waves and the brain waves, the energy frequency of the energy of our higher levels of consciousness coming into resonance with each other so that a bridge can be made. And it's across that bridge of connection that the higher thoughts, the knowledge, the love that you feel from your higher levels of your multidimensional family come across that bridge into your awareness here. This state turns down the noise chatter from the reptilian brain that we still have to look at, as the energy flowing through the higher brain is stronger than the energy of the reptilian brain. This is a state where conscious co-creation of new neural pathways begins, which means you assisting new neural pathways to begin the process of growing within your own anatomy by being in that state, because within that state you're able to consciously access a whole lot more energy, source energy, than you can when you're completely awake here within the hologram and focused on the light and the sound of this hologram, which means the base pulse rhythm of the hologram, the coding of the hologram, the programming of the hologram. When you're focused within the hologram, it's can be more challenging until you have practiced and become more aware to look at the hologram, to have light, your eyes open and light shining into your eyes and reach that state of awareness. It also includes recoding the autopilot control thoughts that come from the reptilian brain, that and the control that they have over the physical body responses. You may have encountered the theta brainwave state while driving for a long period of time, and you reach a point when you cannot remember driving the last several miles. This is a matter of the brain waves reaching the theta state, which can occur with any type of repetition of the thoughts that does not require input from your physical body, such as movement, much movement from your physical body. The constant input of the same rhythm or cycle of energy and lull the brain waves into a theta state. The same occurs via a hypnosis session, as the facilitator lulls the brain into the theta state. They might use, I don't know if you've ever seen it, I don't even know if they're still used anymore, those spinning wheels that look like a spiral and you're going into the spiral. It's the same concept. It's a matter of changing, shifting the rate, the cycle of the brain waves into the slower but still consciously aware state of awareness. Meditation and focusing on the higher energy of Source via the third eye allow the higher energy of Source to come into the physical body at that point, and with continued practice can stimulate the third eye to turn on. It's kind of like sparking over and over. If you think of the concept of trying to create a fire the caveman way, where you're rubbing two sticks together, or you have two flints and you spark until you get a flame going. Well, constantly working with the energy of Source and consciously focusing, like breathing it, creating your focal point. My focal point is my third eye, sixth chakra. That is my strong point within myself. I can't tell you that should be your strong point within yourself, because you may have another point within yourself that you feel is your strong point. So I'm not going to say you have to make that your strong point, but that is my strong point. And so it's like focusing, creating a ball of energy, a sphere of energy, white energy, source white energy within your strong point connection, and then using your breath to move that ball of energy around within yourself. Move it up and down your vertical current, move it into any chakras that you want to. You can do anything with it. Energy is mutable. All you have to do is think it, and you can do it. Using the breath to move energy, you can do that. You can move energy without using the inhale and the exhale breath to do it. But using the breath to do it allows you to engage with it more, to make it more real within yourself, because it is real. But most of us are in a stage of remembering that it's real. And so by engaging your breath with it, you can stay focused with it more intensely, to focus on that ball of energy. And I'm going to inhale it up here, and you suck it up there, wherever that is. And then I'm going to hold my breath. When you hold your breath for a little bit, as long as you comfortably can, it's a matter of building charge within that point. You're like, you have this ball of energy there, and you're focusing on it, and you're holding it there like it's suspended in one space, and you're holding your breath, and you're building charge into it, and it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger until you exhale, wherever you exhale it to, and then it's like like in a pinball machine, it goes vroom, and it flies to where you want it to go. Or if you don't exhale forcefully, then it won't fly as fast. And like I said, you can do that without using the breath to do such a thing. But that does take some practice. So if you're new to that kind of thing and you're not aware that you can do that, then using the breath to assist you is a good idea. It is the process of the third eye turning back on that creates the seemingly non-existent sleep patterns. And the higher energy of source coming into the planet is stronger during the nighttime hours, as the electromagnetic solar winds are hitting the other side of the planet, where the sun's shining, and allows for more calmness, as the nighttime side of the planet integrates the energy it received during the daytime solar winds. This is why you may have experienced a biological time clock that has allowed you to sleep peacefully at night and awaken to the day ready to go. And then all of a sudden, you feel like you worked all night and you can't hardly get out of bed. The further out that you go during the dream state, the harder it is to get back in the body. Of course, we don't have any control over that. But then you might awaken and feel like you're drunk or hungover for a bit after coming back into the body and waking up in the hologram. When light or higher energy is no longer pouring into the physical eyes, stimulating the hypothalamus gland, the pineal gland releases melatonin, and the physical body sleeps. But if energy is constantly pouring into the pineal gland, it does not matter if you block out the light energy coming into the physical eyes. The body feels hyper, like it's on a caffeine high, and you may feel like your energy is bouncing off the walls. I have found personally that it's no use to try to fight it and force sleep, as lying the body down to relax only makes it stronger. You can only wait until the wave finishes flowing into you, and then you will most likely crash in bed like you have been physically working for 24 hours straight. I deal with this a lot, and is one way I deal with this a lot, and is why one day I might have thoughts of what I'm going to accomplish the next day. But then a wave will come in and rewrite all of the things I thought that I could accomplish that next day. Because once a wave like that comes in, then you have to have time to integrate it as well. And it's just taking life one moment at a time. In my experience, it generally takes about 3 days to begin the process of becoming aware of thought patterns held within the wave. But when it is a wave of one of the monthly time shifts, it can take 30 to 60 days to start becoming aware of information held within that wave. That's because I personally have become aware that the time shifts that are occurring every 30 days are a whole lot stronger in energy than any of the smaller waves in between. When you are in a theta state and working with higher energy, the darkness with eyes closed triggers the production of melon, and this combined with a higher energy can make you feel extremely sleepy. If you are working with a guided meditation, you may find you cannot stay awake to complete the meditation. As the pineal gland continues to awaken, it becomes easier to stay awake. So just keep practicing. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. The conception of intuition, or simply knowing something because you know it, is also associated with activation of the pineal gland third eye, and has been thought or called women's intuition, because the female was allowed to have a stronger connection with the feelings of the emotional body, so she wouldn't eat the offspring. But it is not something that is just limited to female expression. And as healing continues, more male expressions will feel the need to get in touch with their emotions. This is an aspect of much larger healing of the divine male and the divine female, and being able to merge back into one expression. The process of the third eye turning back on is also associated with inner body heats and freeze outs. And when higher waves of energy are coming in, you may notice a cycling of these body temperatures. It's not the same as temperature changes from the outer environment, like when it's sub-zero temperatures like it's been here for months, or in the heat of the sun, that makes your body sweat. It's not the same kind of heat and cold. And the heats have been compared to what females deal with during menopause. But this is not just limited to females. So, sorry males, you're going to have to deal with this too. For the freeze outs, I have to put my body into a tub of hot water, as hot as my body can stand it. And I soak in the tub of hot water with my skin turning red and my teeth chattering until the wave integrates and the body temperature starts to balance out. It's harder for my body to deal with the heats because I don't like putting my body in a tub of cold water. And so it's like, in front of fans, going outside in temperatures, whatever you can do to try to cool the body down. And personally, I have found that the heats make my teeth chatter just as much as the freeze-outs do. This occurs because the pineal gland is part of the endocrine system, which carries hormones directly into the circulatory system. And the higher energy is slowly creating changes within the hormones of the matter body of the eternal life forms. And remember in level 1, I kept talking about raising into higher energy as chemical heat, not flame heat, not fire burning up, higher quantum of energy as in chemical heat. This is one way to experience that concept of chemical heat, especially when your body goes through the heats from the inside out. These changes of heats and freeze out occur from the inside of the body and work their way out, not outside in. In lower vertebrates, the pineal gland has an eye-like structure, and it functions as a light receptor and is considered to be the evolutionary forerunner of the modern eye. And indeed it was. That is why eternal life forms will only have a matter biology that expresses physical eyes if they are necessary for the life experience of that matter form. Our uncountable number of simultaneous incarnations within the time matrix galaxy do not all look like us. In fact, we're the mutated biology within that multitude of ourselves. Another thing you may encounter, or may already have encountered, is that when the third eye is active, you may notice seeing things around you, like in the room, when your physical eyes are closed, as if you are somehow seeing through the eyelids of your physical eyes. The room is dark, and you most likely desire to go to sleep. But everywhere that you look, you still see things in the room. This can be very annoying when you want to go to sleep, but at this time, I have not figured out how to control it, how to turn it on, and how to turn it off. It happens when it happens. I will lie there and look at it until it turns off, because I can't do anything else about it. When this happens, and I see the things in the room as such, the image of the things in the room look like the image you would see on one of the old-time negatives from a camera that requires film. And the images of living things, such as people, plants, animals, appear as if they are glowing within the darkened image. I now know that this is a process of a different type of vision turning back on, that could be compared to the vision that nighttime vision goggles allows for, which is simply a process of higher energy turning on to allow for a broader view of creation. All eternal life forms hold such higher vision naturally, organically within their self. It allows for seeing energy that is currently outside of the range of the color spectrum of this reality field, which is a very small band of energy of everything there is to see within the time matrix. It can be a very good tool to hone, as it can assist the ability of energy sensing and seeing things that are out of the range of the current 3D spectrum. But darned if I know how to hone it at this moment. It is activation of the third eye that allows being able to allow all around you, all that is going on within the hologram, without becoming emotionally affected. And it occurs because you're able to see the hologram in a different way, and you can become aware of it, all of it, as the energy that it is, instead of only seeing it as the manifest hologram. From the ability of seeing the inner hologram of energy, you can instantly step into the God space and allow Source to calm your emotions. Okay, before we start looking at the 3 layers of the brains and the reptilian brain, if you've never heard of that before, this next image analogy here, levels of personal identity in the Milky Way time matrix. This is my attempt at an image analogy to try to assist us to understand where our vertical family of consciousness exists as compared to us now, where we find ourselves in these physical bodies within the hologram. And they exist within us. Why do they exist within us? Remember, if you remember back in level 1, at the Big Bang, and the ray of energy spiraling outward from the center point of the original thought of Source, or the creation point. It's also called the creation point of Source. And as it spirals out, it steps down in energy, with the light ray becoming more frozen, more diffused, more spread out. It's coming from the inside outward from the center point. It's the same way with our multidimensional family of consciousness. When we look at the creation of a hologram later, I hope that that information can assist us more with the illusion of space and time, and why we see things outside of ourselves as bigger than ourselves, far away from ourselves, to allow us to embody the feeling, the knowing, the remembrance of where all of ourselves are. Where is Source? You, in your physical body, you are, if you're thinking about it on the ray of light coming out from the center point of Source, you're all the way out there on the end of that ray of light. You're the furthest out from the center point of the original thought of Source. And because we perceive the illusion of space between things, the step down of the quantum of energy allows us to perceive that illusion, because the quantum of energy at the center point is a whole lot stronger, higher in energy than we are all the way out there at the end of the ray of light shining out from the center point. But space is an illusion that is created via the different levels of quantum of energy. So we're not all the way out. Then the center point of Source is all the way, some way far away from us in space. It's all right here, right now, right where you're sitting within your physical body. All of creation is right here in this same space. It's simply the different layers of quantum of energy and the angle that things are pointing at, and all of these other factors such as the base pulse, the accretion rate, that the rate of accretion that you're drawing energy to yourself, the way that light bends, what point it's hitting to bend, where it's coming from to reach that point that it's shining to and to bend, and then the way that you're able to perceive it. All of these factors come into play in creating a hologram, and all of these factors allow for the illusion of space and time. So Source is not away from us. Source has never been away from us. Of course, we're Source embodied. But the feeling that many people have, that Source, and this has been promoted within all organized religions for eons of time. And if you think about the ancient times of the ET godlets showing up on planet in their spaceships and teaching the people of Earth about God, godlets, that they're God, they're superior, they're here to teach you, save you from all of these terrifying things that you do not know what they are. It was very easy to convince the people of Earth that they were God, because the people had no memory, no concept of what God was. They couldn't even nighttime dream, that they had no idea what God was. So the concept of what God was began then, when these, actually in the ancient Egyptian periods is when it began, when all of these godlets came unto the planet to teach the masses everything, all of the truths that they wanted the masses to believe was true. So that's where the concept of God being out there, over there, up there somewhere, began within the current mass consciousness of this false reality field. And them arriving within their magical vehicles, fiery vehicles that we would call spaceships, but the people of those times had no clue what a spaceship was. So, it's this magical fiery thing coming out of the sky and coming from the heavens, from this place up there in heaven, that may be a star or a planet that became named after a godlet. All of these things that are called myths within ancient and pre-ancient history are not all myths. Very few of them are myths. It's just the way that the people thought, conceived, conceptualized, trying to understand their environment around them. And it's no different today, except we think that we're more intelligent, have more knowledge of our environment. For those who are awake and aware, we're starting to realize that we really do not have, we do not hold a lot of open knowledge of our environment, because things have continued to be put in front of the public's eyes and called something else, and people believe what they're told those things are. So it's still a matter of understanding our environment and our relationship with the environment, which is understanding our relationship with creation. So in this image analogy here, the outer body, the outside rim of these sets of bodies, is a yellow body that has a whole lot of green dots, speckles within it. That is our physical, emotional body. And in the first white body going in from the outer body, you could see a green line around that white body. That is representing the subconscious mind level. The virus creates this translucent greenish type of, it looks like a slime to me, around the light particles of the matter body, the matter light particles of frequency band 1 and 2 within this false reality field and within the subconscious mind level. Now that is not something that is perceivable with our physical eye vision. I don't think so. I've never, I don't have any experience of looking at things under a telescope, but if it is seen under a telescope in science labs and stuff, nobody knows what it is, because it's been there all along. It's been there for 26,000 years. So it's, if it is seen as something within the biology, it's considered to be a natural part of the biology. But I don't think that it's seen with the physical eyes. It looks to me like it's out of the range of viewing of what the physical eyes can pick up on. And it kind of looks to me like, if you've ever seen a snail going along the ground and they leave that kind of slimy stuff behind them as they slither along the ground, that's what it looks like. It looks like kind of a translucent greenish colored slime around the light particles. And it not only blocks out the energy of source, but it changes the angles that rays of light shine to, and then bounce back, turn, and come back to the awareness, our awareness, to translate that energy. It changes the coding held within the energy of the ray of light, because it changes the quantum of energy of the ray of light, and it changes the angle that it's bouncing and then being received back from. So the outer body here is representing the physical, emotional body of plane 1, infected currently with the cosmic virus. And then the subconscious mind level going in from there at the 2.75 frequency band level. That's why it's surrounding that first white body going inward. And that first white body going inward is the 3-point seat, mental reasoning mind of the incarnate in plane 1, which is us. That is our level of mind, where our thoughts, where our emotional, physical body is now plugged back into that. So we're still receiving, we're still dealing with the virus. So we're still going to have virus thoughts coming up to our awareness through the reptilian brain. But we're physically reconnected now. Our physical body is rewired back into the level of our mind, where our thoughts are only supposed to come from. This part, the incarnate in plane 1, is not supposed to receive thoughts from another mind, be it a reptilian brain or the subconscious mind. So we're still healing the virus, but we're plugged back into that level of our mind now, which means healing those distorted thoughts is occurring much faster than it was prior to being plugged back into our organic mind. And then going in from the mental body, 3-point seat reasoning mind, is an outline of a blue sprinkled body. And I have simply sprinkled those bodies, those colored bodies, going inward to depict the fact that they're polarized frequency bands body. Frequency bands body. That's a hard word to say there. Say that really fast 3 times. Frequency band bodies. Because in the polarized frequency bands, the light is diffused, which allows for the illusion of polarization. And that's why you see, when you look at, for instance, the picture of the Milky Way time matrix galaxy, or the image that we're given to represent that from space science, and you see all of that dust particles spinning around there, that's diffused light that allows for the illusion of matter to be created. So this is representing these sprinkled bodies here, is representing diffused light, representing physical matter body forms. So the blue sprinkled body, matter body form there, is the incarnate body of plane 2, consisting of frequency bands 7 and 8. And then going inward from that, the next white body is the, did I do that right? No, I'm sorry, 4 and 5. I'm getting backwards here. I'm getting dyslexic in my numbers. Plane 2, frequency bands 4 and 5, going inward. And then the next white body is the soul mind at the 6-point seat. That's you, sitting within yourself there. All of these bodies are you, sitting within yourself. And then going inward from that, we have what I've made kind of a pinkish color here, the plane 3 body of polarized frequency bands 7 and 8. And then the white body going in from that is the oversoul mind of the vertical pillar level of mind. And then going on from that, I've tried to make a light blue here. I don't see these bodies as those colors. I'm not saying your body at that level is this color. That doesn't necessarily apply. I'm just using colors here to try to create bodies within bodies within bodies. So that next really light blue one going in is representing the plane 4 body of frequency bands 10 and 11. And then the inner white body is the Christed mind, your Christed identity of frequency band 12. And you step out from that point. That part of your anatomy right there is sitting within the universal galactic sun at the center of the time matrix. That's where you sit all of yourself down within the non-polarized vertical pillar stargates at the galactic sun, 12, 9, 6, and 3. But it's kind of like paper dolls that, what is that called? A whole string of paper dolls that are cut out in one piece of paper, and you can fold them up like an accordion and pull them back out, but they're all still connected together. All of your bodies, all of your levels of mind, all of your identities. And this isn't just you here and now. This applies to all of your incarnations within the time matrix galaxy. They're all connected together. They're all connected together through the chakra system, through the eternal life grid. All of your incarnates in plane 1 are connected through the chakras 1, 2, and 3. And you should know that. We should all know that. We should have an awareness of all of ourselves that are playing throughout the time matrix galaxy. And each one of ourselves that are playing in different holographic reality fields throughout the time matrix galaxy have free will. Isn't that just wonderful? Everyone has free will. But we're the densest right now in this false reality field. Our matter bodies that we're experiencing within, and the matter reality field is the densest, the coldest, the most frozen, the one holding the least amount of energy of all of them. And that's changing. Well, what have I put on here that we need to read? Diffused light is lower in energy, colder and denser. Expansion into higher conscious awareness occurs as the outer lower energy is raised in energy and contracts inward, merging with the higher energy. Now see, from our current perception now of the way that we perceive reality, if we could, we would not, but if we could see outside of ourselves, standing next to ourselves, say our plane 4 incarnate identity, that's represented by that light blue sprinkled body there in the center. If we were to see that expression of ourselves standing outside of ourselves, it would look like a giant to us. Even though when we look at this image analogy and we see ourselves on the outer rim going in, it looks like, as far as size is concerned, that it's a whole lot smaller in size than we are. The illusion of size has to do with the quantum of energy that something holds. So when you're perceiving something out here, where we find ourselves now, we're perceiving creation from our level of energy, from our accretion level. So something that holds a higher level of energy within it, a higher accretion level, to our awareness now would seem to be extremely large in size. The same way when we look at the sun. The sun looks to us like this humongous ball of fiery energy hanging out in the sky. Like God hung all of these balls around the universe to decorate the universe. It's just hanging there. And it appears to be extremely large as compared to the earth. But that's because it's higher in energy. It's holding more energy within it. If we were, and we will be, if we and the planet were the same energy level as the sun, then it would not look as big as it does to our perception now. So the illusion of size is dependent on the accretion level of the one doing the viewing of that energy. So that's why when you look at this image analogy here of our personal identity within the Milky Way galaxy, we have the concept of going inward is higher energy, because it is going back to the center, back closer to the source of the heat, and getting hotter and hotter and hotter in energy, which again, you can think of hotter as flames and burning, or chemicals. The concept of chemicals will only be experienced when you're experiencing within polarization in a matter-body form. When you're not expanded, when you haven't imbued part of your energy into a holographic reality field, into a holographic matter-body form, you don't experience the concept of chemicals and chemical reactions, and you don't experience toxins. You don't experience chemicals in any way, because you're non-polarized energy, which means a chemical reaction is not occurring. It's just still energy, a still wave of light that shines forth. It's not, how could I help you conceptualize that more? Maybe if we think of a flame on a campfire, and it's standing up straight, and it's not moving. It's not moving from one side to another. It's just standing there still. But then when, say, the wind blows and it moves the flame, dances from side to side, that's created by a chemical reaction, an interaction with other types of energy that's creating what we see as the flame dancing. So when you're experiencing within non-polarization, you're just still. You're not even expressing as light as we perceive it within the spectrum of the energy of this hologram. You're expressing more. See, when we think of the concept of the sun, the universal galactic sun at the center of the time matrix galaxy, we perceive the light there. We perceive that bright ball of energy that's there, as well as we can perceive it in the pictures that we have to represent that. But even the light that's shining there, that is the stepping out of frequency bands, as they step out from the 12, 9, 6, and 3 non-polarized seats, stargates that sit there. Because non-polarized means it's not shining forth to our perception. It's considered to be invisible energy. So we're perceiving the light, so we're perceiving polarization. That's creating different types of energy. That's creating reactions within those different types of energy. You can call them chemical reactions. You can call them nuclear reactions. You can name them whatever you want to name them, and call them whatever reactions you want to call them. But it's a reaction between different frequencies of energy that's creating the light that we're able to perceive. Because there is non-visible light as well. And when we can make our way back to the time matrix galaxy and look at some of the things as to how a hologram is created, then we'll talk more about non-visible light. And so I still need to record the next part here about the 3 layers of the brain. And I'm tired at this moment because I realize I've been speaking for over 2 hours. So I'm going to stop this recording here and work on continuing to record more as soon as I